Hello and welcome. I'm Master Lama Rasaji, and this is the Saturday edition of Rasaji Speaks. I'm so happy that you can be with us today, and I hope you're excited about spending time with your God this weekend, spending time with the loved families. I'm so excited about being here in Charleston with Dr. Marvin and Dr. Eleanor and Robin and Sarah and all the people around the world. Even got Brother Eugene here from Romania. Imagine, go all the way to America to see the Lama and be a part of the Ascension Tour. That's pretty far out. I'm happy that you're tuning in today on our spiritual message. We're going to read from the gospel today. We're actually going to read from Luke chapters 7, 31 through 35. And Jesus is said to say this. Jesus said to the crowds, "To what shall I compare the people of this generation? What are they like? They're the children who sit in the marketplace and call out and yell out to one another. They play the flute for you, but you do not dance. We sang a dirge for you, but you do not weep. For John the Baptist, my cousin, came neither eating food nor drinking wine, and you said he is possessed by a demon, the devil himself. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and you said he is a glutton and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners, but the wisdom is vindicated by all her children." The older verse, they changed this verse here, but the older verse said, the Son of Man came eating and drinking, and you would make him your king. Makes a lot more sense, right? It's funny how they keep changing the scripture around. That's why you got to understand every 25, 30 years since Second Vatican II gave them permission from the Holy See, start reworking everything. And it's been reworked, and the Protestants have reworked it, and it's just reworked. And so, most people see this is how a lot of the ways they get away with crap, the dark side and the deep state. This is how they get away with crap. Most of us have not pursued spirituality consistently for 20 to 25 years. Most people don't do it consistently for 10 to 20 years, 7 to 10 years. So what happens in traditional religion, they start changing something, and we haven't been paying attention enough or going regular enough or reading regularly enough, and they slide that stuff right in. This passage here, just a couple decades ago, said, and you would make him your king. You see? Now, if they've been doing that, how long have they been doing that? My point is a fundamental, locked-in, closed-minded Jewish person or Christian who has really not gone outside of the Old or New Testament to learn anything doesn't even have a clue how limited their awareness of what's been truly written and not written even was. How do they know? You understand where I'm coming from? See, you're talking with somebody who's been pursuing spirituality and holistic science for 55 plus consistent years consciously. In other words, I knew I was on the path. So for 55 years plus, Could make a case for 58 to 59 if I wanted to, but without a doubt, 55. Teaching and sharing long enough, even in those 4 decades, to see things like scripture being messed with, right? Think about it, right? Think about it. It doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat, an independent, or Republican. It really doesn't. Because there's victim and non-victim in Democrats, Republicans, independents, and people from all countries, right? We're either more victim or we're more empowering. And when you examine that pathway, you will understand why the rock rolling away from the stone rolling away is such a big deal, and why those 40 days is significant. According to the Lamasery and the Siddhas and the Siddha Yoga masters that Jesus learned from, is that the 40 days that Jesus was here after the resurrection, showing him the empowerment of the human race and really what we were supposed to evolve to, is more significant than the Jewish people being 40 years in the desert. "40 years in the..." You see, the number 40 is big. Jesus is in the desert after the baptism. The devil is tempting him 40 days. 40, 40, 40, 40, 40 days. Very significant. I'll never forget one of the most significant early testimonies that I shared the Circle of Chi information was, before the book was even published, I had already written several chapters, and it was in manuscript form. Been working on it for a while. And it was in manuscript form. And a friend of, actually a third cousin to my wife, Mita, in Cebu, was married to a truck driver who was about 340 to 360 pounds. And she didn't know what to do with him. She said, he is a walk. Her and his sister said, "This guy's a walking time bomb. Can you do anything to help him?" I knew he didn't have any money. And she was such a nice person. I hadn't even known Mita yet. And I had met them on Facebook, and they found out about my teachings. "Can you do anything to help my husband?" And I said, "Well, I can't travel." I said, "I don't mind helping him, but, you would need to pay me $200 or $300. And this is 20 years ago for me to go back and forth." And I knew that he didn't have it. And so I said, "I'll send you in manuscript form. I'll send you my book." And she says, "Well, what does he do with it?" I said, "Does he read the Bible? Does he know the significance of 40 days? And she says, "I think so. I'll ask him." She got back. She says, "Absolutely. He understands 40 days in the desert." I said, "Good." I said, because that's the least amount that it usually takes to give somebody kind of a wake up little epiphany, if you will, the El Kabong right between the kind of eye thing, right? 40 days. She says, "Well, he needs to lose at least 65 pounds. They want to do surgery on him, but they don't want to touch him because he's a walk-in time bomb, and they won't touch him unless he loses 60 pounds. And then I started to get to know him, and he said the wife wouldn't give him attention. She didn't want to have anything to do with him. So I got the appeal from the wife, the sister, and then the husband. So I said, "Okay, read this." She goes, "Well, what do you want me to do?" I said, "I just want you to read this." He said, "Read what?" I said, "I want you to go through this manuscript, my first book that we give you for free. If you join thecircleofchi.com, you can download it for free, start our 45-day renewal, right? And you can do that for free. You'll get the Monday through Saturday Rasaji Speaks, and you'll also get the updates from the Lamasery, the Light of Truth from the Lamasery once a week. Download the same book I'm talking about for free and start your 45-day challenge where the book's a part of that, but also 4 Qigong exercises that will raise your energy, raise your vibration, and bring to you a sense of well-being. It's an investment of time. Doesn't cost you anything, just an investment of time. So she says, that's all I need to do is have him read the book. We ask you to do more because we want you to have an impactful first week, first 5 to 10 days by you doing the things in the 45 challenge. You know, this is something, right? But we hadn't put the whole package together. This is 25 years ago. And so he starts to read it. I said, but he has to read it every day for a minimum of 40 days, and then I'll continue working with it. If he does that, I'll do that, right? Remember, I wasn't charging the guy anything. So that's what he did. And he read it, right? And by 40 days, only 108 pages. It was in big print. So when he was on like the 25th day, he was already done. What I do, I said, start over and do it again. By the 40th day, he says, what do I do now? And I said, why? He says, I've lost 10 pounds. I said, you've lost 10 pounds. He says, I don't know what's going on. I'm just reading your book and I've lost 10 pounds. How do you do that? I said, well, he says, he says, I want to lose 60. I said, then start reading it again. I think he ended up reading it 10 to 12 times in the first year. And 6.5 months into doing that, he had lost almost 70 pounds. It was one of our first testimonies that we ever had in our site, right? Lost 68 pounds in 6.5 months reading the Lama's book. And she said, well, what happened? I said, it reprogrammed this. He wasn't reading anything but what was in that book. So he said no to the world for 6.5 months. And he would read 5 minutes some days, 10 minutes. On the weekend, he might get in 15 or 20 minutes. And what it did, it reworked him. He went from doing no exercises to walking 20, 30 minutes a day. He went from not knowing how to breathe to breathe. He went from putting nothing but negative in his head to putting nothing but positive in his head. And he found his eating habits changed. All of a sudden, things made sense, and he found himself going in a Panera bread to get soup and salad and a half of a sandwich, as opposed to pulling through a Burger King, getting 2 Whoppers, 1 or 2 large fries, and a strawberry milkshake. And he quit drinking during the week, and he'd only have a light beer or something on the weekend. And 6.5 months of that, he lost 68 pounds. Went to check and see if he needed the surgery. He didn't need the surgery anymore. Checked his blood pressure, normal. Blood sugar levels that were out of whack. They thought he was pre-diabetic, which he was. His insulin and sugar was doing fine. All of this because he read the Lama's book that you get for free by joining us today. You need to do it today and get started on your 45-day renewal. I guarantee you 45 days into it, 90% of the people that start the 45-day renewal, 2 years later, they're still doing the 45-day renewal. They grow closer to God than they ever have before. They have more energy than they've had in 10 or 20 years, some people ever. They have a better outlook on family, life, and the world, and they don't even care anymore about the foolishness that's happening in Washington, D.C., because they don't know what they're talking about. Does that sound like something that you need to start doing? And sing with me a little bit as we come to a close. Amazing grace, oh how sweet, sweet the sound that would gain a rich like me. Oh Lord, I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. Was grace that brought me here today. Was grace that set me free. Oh, I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but Lord, now I see. Oh, yeah. The singing llama, who would have ever thought, right? God bless you. Spend time with your wonderful family. You'll never know when they're not here. That's true. You'll never know. Spend time with your spiritual community. Stop into the gathering this week and tell Lynette that Lamaji sent you, and she will take care of it. She's such a special human being. Treat everybody the way you want to be treated, and let's begin to love each other the way that Jesus has loved us all these many years. Take care of yourself. Barak Abishai. May the blessings be to you and your glorious family. I look forward to you Monday, bright and early. You got it on Risaji Speaks. God bless. See you soon.